How's it going, everybody? This is Isaiah Martinez. Welcome to The Deep End. If you guys haven't already subscribed to the show, please feel free to do so. You can go on thedeependpod.com. You can find all of our various platforms. You can follow us on social media. We now have a shop available in the store. So on the website, you can go on thedeependpod.com, click shop, and you will see the Deep End merch. Very excited about that. That's the first time. This is the first, I guess, generation or series that I put out of merchandise. So I'm very, very excited about that. Today, we got a very special guest who is joining us. Once again, a repeated guest, a good friend of mine, a longtime Rialto patriarch who has started a movement with his clothing brand. He's also been working on engineering and doing things in the studio in Los Angeles. My good friend, Jaime Santabanez, welcome to the show again, my bro.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me back.
Today, we're going to be talking about the crypto market. I realize that maybe there might be some that are skeptic about the crypto market, maybe some who, think it's all a big scam. There are some who just don't know about it, don't really have an interest in it. And for those people, I say this would be a good show to kind of get more of an insight of what's currently going on with it. And for those who are in it, this is also good insight for you to know some of the things that are happening in the background and why things have taken a dip. So, as you can see, I also got the Doge shirt on, special occasion for this topic. Those who are listening, I'm sorry, you can't see it, but I have basically a shirt that says Dogecoin on it, and it has their mascot, the dog with shades. To the moon. Yeah, to the moon. So, representing for those Doge holders. So today it's going to be just one topic. We're going to focus in on what's been happening and why the market has taken a turn. But before we do that, Jaime, I was talking with Carlos before heading over to Jesse's family's house the other day, and we were talking about this subject. And he brought up a very good point. He felt that this was a scam, basically that people were in it really to cash out and make a payday. Quick to get rich quick. And I've heard that before. What are your thoughts about that in the cryptocurrency? Do you think that, some are just using it to get rich quick, or is that what this is all about? Or is there really something here?
I think there's definitely some coins out there that are rug pulls. They're get rich schemes, people that are trying to fool people, especially with NFTs. Those can happen, but there are also well-established and good assets to have, like Bitcoin, which is obviously the top crypto. And then as for in the NFT space, like you want to have your Bored Ape Yacht Clubs, those are the crypto punks. And there's going to be established assets that are going to be safer to put your money in. There's definitely going to be scams though, always. As far as the whole crypto market itself, I think there's a lot of utility in it. However, it's still in its infancy. There's still a lot of factors at play that can affect the volatility of it. And people are still not realizing that although they want it to be a safe place to hold their money, it's still going to be a very volatile environment until we see more, years and regulation as far as, controlling the market from scams or even the environmental toll it's taking, which I heard it's going on too, because that's also a concern for the climate and all that.
So I got into it kind of late. I got into it this year, 2022. Not a good year to jump into crypto. Probably the worst year to jump into crypto.
It could be a good time though. I mean,
depending on how you look at it.
It's a good time. Whenever the market's bad, it's always a good time to get in.
Okay, but my time was bad because as soon as I came in, probably weeks later, we have the big crash, crypto crash. The biggest we've seen since, I think, the end of 2020, December. I think the biggest low as far as like Bitcoin has been.
The price wise, 30,000.
So I came in at a bad time, but there's no need to worry because, as it hits a bottom, there's obviously room for opportunity there if you buy low. But for me, I came in this year, and my brother's been preaching this to me since 2018, 2017. Been preaching to me about getting into it, and I always been like, yeah, just haven't done it. What about you? When did you join the crypto market?
Officially, it was 2019, July. I bought my first Bitcoin percentage, not an actual full
I was
coin.
gonna say, dang, the
At the
Bitcoin.
time, at the time, it was 11,000 a coin. This is July of 2019. Yeah, but I had been watching it since the prior year, which was 2018, where it had its previous all-time high back then, which was 18,000. That was in November of 2018, and I was just kind of caught in the attention it was getting, as far as the negative attention from. Cause I always had heard about it, but seeing all the hype and talk about it hitting its all-time high, and then seeing the crash at that time, that was a huge crash from 18,000 in November to its lowest point was around February of 2019. It was at 3,000. So I was just astounded at like how high it had rose and how low it had dropped. And I was just a bystander, just on the outside looking in, like, wow, this looks very volatile. It looks very concerning. Like, I don't know if I would put my money in that. And then I'm watching it throughout the year, and then around July, I was like, dang, it's back at 11,000. Like, let me get in on this before I miss out. And that's the classic thing that happens with crypto. They call it fear of missing out, FOMO. And I was caught up in that, like, kind of
FOMO.
I already had
FOMO.
caught the bug. I was already addicted because I saw the previous all-time high, and I was like, okay, it's on its way back. Let me get in on it. But at the same time, it was kind of like a gamble. I'm not gonna put all my life savings into it. I'm gonna put, at the time, I think I threw $50 into it.
Okay. And that's what the advice is. Usually what they call DCA, you dollars cost average, a little bit here, like a little bit there. And it's not recommended to go all in on something that is uncertain at the moment.
Risky.
Now, the thing that's interesting is that, Bitcoin has been around since after the 2008 financial crisis, so it's been around for some time, a full decade since then it's been around, but it hasn't really gained its traction until as of late and most recent years, which is also pretty interesting. I did want to ask you, what was it that actually triggered you to purchase Bitcoin or any of the altcoins that you did when you first did? What was it that like gave you that push? Was there, were you just doing research and you just did it, or what?
I think just seeing the previous all-time high at 18, and I was just kind of like watching the price, and I noticed, I think I started on stocks, the app on the default app on the iPhones, and I was just looking because it shows you crypto prices on there as well as stock prices, and I was looking at kind of the charts, and I kind of fell in love with the charts and kind of how you can look at patterns and go over like a year, 5 years, the last month, the last week, the last day, the last hour, and you kind of can. It's kind of fun trying to like figure out what's going to happen next, and that's where I think a lot of the people that get into it get caught as well in the excitement, is that you kind of feel that you can predict some of the highs, some of the lows, although it's always going to be speculation, and that's how the market is. It's never a for sure thing, but it's fun to try to guess what's going to happen, and I kind of fell in love with that part of it.
So it started with Bitcoin as being the first one out there. Then it went to what? Do you know what the second one was? Was it Ethereum?
As far as what?
As far as a coin or a crypto coin, was Ethereum the next one? I don't know, but I know it's number two.
A lot of them came out. I don't know what the order was, but yeah, there was always new cryptos coming out. Ethereum, I think, personally got its rise from the NFT market once NFT started taking off. That started to help the price on that, but it's always been also a crypto that was considered a good crypto to hold, as far as its what I'm learning is because I'm still learning myself, it's depending on the circulating supply. So there's going to be coins that are minted ever so often, and there's going to be cryptos that are going to have more coins minted than others. There's going to be some that are going to have more investors than others, which is going to, with the math of the coins versus the amount of people in it, it's going to create more value as far as the market cap, and it's going to give the coin itself more value. So it's going to depend on the supply, the amount of people invested in it, the community, and then the technology, the utility of it, like the usage, what it's for. And Bitcoin specifically has gotten a lot of, especially over the last couple of years because of the pandemic, it's gotten a lot of respect as far as from the financial people, like in Wall Street, people that are in stocks, and their brokers are telling their clients to move their money over to crypto during that, which I think was some of the reason for the high, rise in value, was the amount of people that were getting into it, and the amount of problems that there were with the economy, with the pandemic. And I'm talking like 2020, when there was, quarantine, everything was shut down. It was a very dire time. And I think that catapulted specifically Bitcoin to an extreme high, to where it now is considered like gold, and it's another historic value. However, like I was saying, people want it to be safe, but ultimately it's still a volatile market. So it's to be taken with caution and care. Like, you can't just be.
Is it a scheme? Is it a scheme? Because that seems to be where people draw the line in the sand. Is it a scheme, or is it a profitable investment for the future?
I think when you talk about it, you have to point to a specific coin. So Bitcoin itself, Bitcoin to me is a very useful thing. It has technology that has a lot of value. There's a lot of trust into it. However, like I said, it's still volatile. But as far as being a scam, I don't think it is. I think it's very secure. It's a very strong crypto, but all cryptos are volatile. So it's going to be,
I think,
depending on the market.
You definitely see that people are in it for the dollars. Whether it's the person that's like trying to ride the wave and then cash out at top, or whether it's that long-term investor who's DCAing, believing that crypto is the next big thing, but believing that their investments now will be worth a lot more later, kind of like buying early on Amazon, Google, or like Apple, for example. But then at the same time, you have these criminals, you have these scammers who are out here looking for vulnerabilities and looking for opportunities to scheme their way to fortune.
That's where people and investors have to be smart. You have to know what you're doing. So a lot of the scams that I know are going on are where people are hacking into celebrities' accounts, and they're messaging people like, hey, send me a Bitcoin, send me this much, I'm going to send you back this much. And it's a lot of that. So it's not that people are getting into people's crypto and stealing it, but people are fooling them into sending them money or to sending money here and there. And that comes from or no education really on sending crypto and trusting people, and But
speaking of that, have you ever got one of those messages that was like, hey, send me your Cash App, or hey, I can help you get $1,000, like invest with me, DM me.
Yeah, turn 100.
What is that about? Have you found out what that was about?
That's just straight scamming.
But I've seen like even my personal friends like on Instagram make posts like, no, this is real, it's not a scam. But like I've seen multiple people do that. So are they getting hacked, or are they really posting that?
Someone that I saw post, what they told me was that they were approached and they were told that they were going to get 10,000 or through a DM or something.
Right, through a DM.
And all they had to do was send like 1,000 or something like that. And this dude sent 800. So you could have sent 1,000. And they were like, okay, now do a video of yourself, record it, and then once you post it, I'm gonna send you the money. And they never got the money or something like that.
Okay, first of all, for all our listeners who don't already know this, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. That's an old adage, like that just goes without saying, because then you run into these situations. And people are getting clever, and they're doing it in different ways now. You know, back in the days, it used to be like they'll send you a fake check and they're like, hey, deposit this. And it's like, I don't know, it's rerouted to like their account.
Crazy, something messed up. Some kid actually took his life over one of these scams.
Yeah.
I guess they messaged him pretending to be a girl, saying like, show me a picture of this, and then I'm send you that. He sent her a picture, and the person apparently was a guy or somebody threatening him to show the picture to his mom and his family unless he sent him $5,000.
Oh yeah.
Sent him all this money, and the kid ended up taking his life. And it was like,
whoa.
So I can get these scammers are really like, they're messing with.
So
people.
Nonetheless, you know, cryptocurrency is slowly creeping into the world, you know, whether it's you seen crypto.com taking over the Staples Center, whether you've seen these commercials with Matt Damon telling you to buy more crypto. Have you seen that one? Matt Damon telling you like, what was it? Fortune favors the brave or something. He said, let me try to see if I can look it up. Let me see. Matt Damon. For those who haven't seen the commercial, it's pretty funny now because obviously things are in a downward spiral with the crypto market, and so people are making fun of it because Matt Damon, of all people, he's so far has had this little reputation of doing things that are kind of funny. Okay, here we go. Let's play that.
History is almosts. With those who almost adventured, who almost achieved, but ultimately, for them it proved to be too much. Then there are others, the ones who embrace the moment.
What does that have to do with crypto, by the way?
And commit. And in these moments of truth, these
having
men and
crypto
women
is nowhere close to doing that.
These
what does that
mere
have to
mortals,
do with
just like you and me, as they peer over the edge, they calm their minds and steel their nerves with 4 simple words that have been whispered by the intrepid since the time of the Romans. Fortune favors the brave.
I like it. Because, you know, when we're talking about the crash, so
Yeah.
we got to think about the history too, right? So, like I was saying earlier, like when I started in 2019, that year in February, Bitcoin touched $3,000. Like if you had $3,000, you could have had a whole Bitcoin. You know, if you know, we're talking currently it's at 30,000. You know, if Bitcoin were to fall all the way down to 3,000, 1,000, 900, $100 a coin, then we're like, yeah, this is a piece of shit. This is something that I'm sorry if I can't cuss.
No, you're good. Everybody always asks me that, by the way, but there's never been a thing that says like you can't cuss here. But yes.
Well, yeah, you know, so I would look at, we got to be careful when we talk about the word crash, because I think crash would be like $300 a coin.
Okay.
You know, it's still $30,000 a coin. Like that's still a huge number compared to back then when the previous all-time high was 18,000.
See, I will only say crash.
It hasn't even touched 18 yet.
Let me specify the word crash too, because I did say like the market crash. Really, what I'm specifically talking about is Luna. So Luna or TerraLuna is an actual coin.
Yeah, that crash.
That did crash.
That's a huge crash.
And that just caused the rest of the market to panic. So not necessarily that the whole market crashed. Only one particular coin crashed. We'll get into that a little bit, but just to specify what I meant by that. But yes,
yeah, you're right. That was a huge crash. Because I was actually looking at Luna as one of the coins that I was going to get into.
Right.
And then this happens, and I'm like, oh, because they actually have a really good amount of circulating coins versus their market
18
cap.
billion coins. 18 billion coins. And each coin is supposed to be on the dollar. So that's $18 billion, basically. But to go to what you were saying,
Terra, right?
the reason why it's so appealing, and my brother talked to me a little bit about this, is because they give you an incentive. Like, it's a stable coin, and we'll get into that, what stable coin means in a little bit. But basically, it's kind of a trustworthy place to put your money. So you put your money there, and if you hold your money there, they'll give you an incentive of 20, I think it was 20% of that back to you in their tokens. So there's a real incentive to buy into that. So a lot of people, obviously, 20% interest back. Yeah. For it. So like UST specifically. Yeah. So you get 20 interest back. Like, heck yeah, I'm going to put my money there, because 20 interest is crazy high. Like that wasn't even close to normal. So that is another reason why it was so appealing. And I think just before, like, just to touch back on Matt Damon, you know, people were seeing this commercial, not specifically this commercial, but this commercial and other things that, you know, was really on that bullish mentality, like go big on the crypto market, because it's going to go to the moon. And so a lot of people, you know, swing big, even going all in hopes that the crypto market floodgates would swing wide open and their stake in this early position would pay off big. But the only problem is that there is very little market liquidity or cash actually in the market. And any moderate sale can have a strong effect on any one of the going prices for these coins. For example, like we were just talking about TerraLuna, they created 2 coins out of thin air, backed by nothing. And so how are they worth something? Because the market, they're so excited, so irrationally excited about things like this that, you know, they want it to believe that it will work, because when you believe that a currency works, that's what makes traders actually make some money for some time. Just like any currency, you have to believe in it in order for it to work.
I think at the time that they made it, the environment was so that it was able to work.
Mm-hmm.
But now with the inflation, with the war, with all these factors now that are coming into play, and I heard that the rates for interest are now rising, where they were at 0 for a while. And that created like boredom. I heard from investors that wanted their money to grow. They took it out of those bonds and those funds, and they put it into something that was becoming more appealing, like NFTs and crypto. And at the time, we didn't see this whole crash with Terra and with Luna and what's going on with the whole crypto market right now. It was created in a time where it could have been sustainable, but now with this new climate that we're in, with the financial market, specifically crypto, and with the inflation, and that's a huge question. Like, where are we going to go from here? Are we going to see inflation taper off and go back to normal levels, or it's going to get worse? That's what the question is. Like, how low will Bitcoin go? Because that's what I'm looking at. I'm focused on the top dog, because I've heard whatever happens to crypto, whatever happens to Bitcoin happens to the rest of crypto as far as the market. And I'm trying to see what the low point would be, to see when a good time would be to get in, because I think that it will recover. It's just a matter of time and how the market is going to adjust to the rates rising, because it comes down to the investors, right? The people that are putting their money into it. Every coin is speculative. We don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to depend on the herd, the people. And unfortunately, a lot of them are not that educated, and a lot of them are going to be like, as far as financially literate, as far as like
that's jacked up.
They're going to be like, but then again, a lot of them are very careful with their money. Like, I think the average person is very careful with their money. They're like, which is why probably people like you that haven't really got into crypto until now, a lot of them are kind of like, they're kind of holding on, like Dave Chappelle holding on to the money with the crown. They kind of like want to wait to see some more evidence, some more. And there's going to be others that are riskier, the gamblers that are going to be like, I'm going to get in now. I'm going to do my research. But a lot of people, they take the safe route. But when they do decide to jump in, a lot of times they don't do as much research, and they don't really see what's going on. They just kind of see the hype,
Yeah.
and they don't really know what's going to happen. They're just hoping for the best. And that's a recipe for disaster, because you're going to lose money like that.
I think why that's also important to be cautious of, or even dollar cost average is what they call it, is because these cryptocurrencies, well, some of them, like particularly this TerraLuna, and I'm talking about them right now because they're the ones in the scope. They're the ones that their coin crashed. So these particular coins, they're not priced on the dollar. You know, they said that there was pegged on the dollar, but it's not truly pegged on the dollar. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's really priced at other illiquid coins, which are then priced on other illiquid coins, which are then priced on Ether, which is then priced finally on dollars. So when you hear like billions or millions, it might not truly mean billions or millions like in the bank. You know, that can, because there's no liquidity in the market. Like there might be money at the bottom of this, but it's not exactly dollar for dollar like we think it is. It's only made to be that way so that way traders can make some money for some time. But the only thing about these algorithmic stable coins is that they work until they don't. So eventually, if something gets depegged, it could all fall down like a house of cards. You know what I mean? And that's the thing people have to be cautious of or be aware of, is that that can easily happen. But these people, like you said, some jump all in and not knowing this, and they get the rug pulled right under their feet. You know what I mean? And their whole savings, their whole life savings or whatever is gone, and boom, like they're basically down to zero and bankrupt. Cause some swing really big, dude. Like some put in like mortgages on their house in it, or their 401k or whatever. Like some go stupid like that and go swing big for the fences, cause they're dreaming of being the next, the next billionaire, like quick.
I think right now in crypto, I think the only ones left are like the crazy ones, like me, like other people, like only those type of people are still in it. Like the really rich, really smart people, they know how to smell things coming. They can smell when something bad is coming, and they get the hell out of there. And a lot of them did. And then you have tourists that they come in, they're like, oh, I don't know what crypto is. I'm just gonna get in here, and they saw they lost money and they're out of there. But then the crazy ones are like, I already got in. I'm in the red. I'm losing money, but I'm gonna like fuck it. I'm gonna hold because, and that's a luxury that people have. Some people have. It's like they're able to hold. You should hold, but like I said, the average person is very careful with their money, very protective of their money, and they're very, they think about where they're gonna put their money. They're very decide and are very specific and to what they spend. And there's a lot of those people that got in, lost money, got out, and then there's people that got in before it even got bad because they knew, because they had the super good broker that was telling them early to get out. And there's a lot of those that and that creates kind of like a tidal wave of momentum and towards the exit for crypto. And that's what I think happened is like, but now it's what I read this morning was it's going to depend on the miners that are going to be, because this crash is going to affect the way that the coins are being mined. And if mining companies that are huge are beginning to take losses and they decide to sell off, it can create a huge chain reaction that's going to drop it. That some say Bitcoin can go as low as under 20,000 to 16,000.
Because that's key there. That's key. If that stops working, that's like the steam in the engine, right? If that stops working, then what do we got here? Just a bunch of nothing. You know?
And then even then, I would say I wouldn't say it's the end of Bitcoin. I would just say that it's going to be a huge correction, and we have to look at the point of where it's going to touch the bottom,
right?
What they call the floor. Like if let's say it crashes down to 16, and it stays there, and it doesn't go any lower than 16, then I would expect it in the near future to rise again. But if we're seeing it drop from 16 to 10 to 5 to 3,000, 2,000, under $1,000, $200, $30, like it's over, you know. Then we'll know. But I don't honestly do not think that's gonna ever happen.
Have you guys seen that?
There's too much in Bitcoin right now.
Have you guys seen the minings? Have you seen the factories of these miners like that are going on for crypto?
Yeah.
I want to show the viewer for those who haven't seen it. What would I call it? Just Bitcoin mining factory facility. Just to see an idea of what this looks like. I'll just go with the top one.
Bitcoin hit $1 trillion market cap this year.
Let's skip.
Behind me, inside of the buildings, we have this shelving that's 1,000 feet long, 20 feet tall, and there are just miner after miner after miner after miner.
We went inside North America's largest Bitcoin mine to understand how it works and its energy footprint.
What is
That's
a
just
miner?
crazy, like that many computers, like it's like a super freaking, it's just all computers, like in a big factory facility. And I've seen they're even doing like where they have these computers underwater just because the temperature is such a key factor for these things to run.
They need the fans to cool them down.
And they need so much energy to keep this going, which includes fossil fuel. So it kind of goes back to
I heard
fossil
that
fuel.
the whole crypto market has the same carbon footprint as the country of Czechoslovakia.
Dude. So how are we expecting to keep this running? I don't know how we're planning to keep that going.
That was a huge thing that caused a price change a couple years ago when Elon Musk said that about Bitcoin. And at the time, another crypto called XRP started to get a lot of
Steam
building for the reason that XRP is known to be one of the least the cryptos that uses the least amount of energy to mine. So it's a very green crypto to mine. And that was giving it a lot of steam and a lot of
and on top of
momentum.
that, there's just a lot of good functionality to that coin because it's faster, I hear, in doing transactions. It could do way more transactions at one time.
It's hard to
compared
find
to other coins.
If you're out there and you're looking to buy XRP, because you're going to have a hard time finding an exchange. It's not on crypto.com. It's not on Coinbase. It's not on Robinhood.
Aren't they in a case or something? They're in the middle of a case right now that's going. That
there is something going on, but you can still buy it on exchanges. Like I just heard from a coworker who's really into crypto as well, and it's called Uphold. And Uphold is the app that you downloaded. It's an exchange that offers XRP, which I'm gonna look into myself because I do think it's gonna be a good coin to hold.
It's going to be a good player, a heavy hitter, I'd say for sure.
Sure, and but like you said, where are we going to go with this is a huge question because it's already been brought up by one of the most, the richest man in the world, an influential person, polarizing, hate him or love him, Elon Musk, and he has a point. Like there's going to be a point where we're going to have to be better about how we mine crypto because it can be, bad for the planet, bad for humanity, and that's not good.
Computing power takes up so much energy. It's crazy when you think about it, because they do so much so fast. So let's go into why did Luna fall from its high of 118 per coin to as low as pennies today? And why did Bitcoin hit its low at least for that we know of right now, of 25K comparing to its high nearly 70K just late last year?
November last year. Mm-hmm.
I think it's all due to one thing, and that is the collapse of Terra's stablecoin UST. So let's get into that a little bit. What's the difference between these regular altcoins that are volatile comparing to a stable coin? We kind of touched on it a little bit. Other coins, they have the ability to go up or down. Like we're talking about like Bitcoin itself, for example, goes up or down 10% all within a day. It can go up, it could go down, like, and it moves so quickly. And that's the thing is like, it's so.
Not to cut you off,
Go ahead.
that's the exact definition also of an NFT. It's something, anything that can go up or down.
Yeah. And this is the reason why engineers created stable coins. They wanted a safe place, a safe haven on the market where we can put our funds that can earn us some interest on doing so. And so that's the reason why stable coins are out there. And there's a couple of stable coins out there. I didn't even know this, but there's actually such thing called stable coin wars, where they're competing basically for who's the best stable coin and whatnot.
U.S. government even has their own.
The U.S. government even has one. So this is where TerraLuna comes into play, because they hit a niche by being able to be one of the stable coins that could pump out so much coins. They pumped out 18 billion coins, and they're all pegged at $1, meaning that was exactly $18 billion they came out with out of nothing. And so TerraLuna was the first to do that. And now what happened? What led to this fall of Luna and UST? It was the collapse of UST when major financial institutions sold off large chunk of assets, and then everyone else tried to take their money out as quickly as possible. And so, as you can imagine, this stable coin, TerraLuna, it's different from other stable coins because other stable coins are backed by $1, a literal dollar that is in a bank. But TerraLuna stablecoin wasn't backed that way. Its stablecoin was pegged to the dollar, but it was really truly backed by other cryptocurrencies that were volatile, such as Luna and Bitcoin. So if the value of its stablecoin depegged, meaning if it went under $1, maybe like 98 cents, for example, or over $1, what would happen is their associated altcoin, Luna, would then make a correction so that its stablecoin would be back valued at $1. That's the easiest way I can kind of explain that. So when large amounts of money started to be dumped off of its stablecoin UST, it triggered a panic where everybody wanted to pull out. And so that caused its associated altcoin that's supposed to correct it to inflate so much so where it went from hundreds of millions of coins to, I think, 6.2 trillion, which basically made its value near to zero. Same thing with like hyperinflation in the real world. You know, when there's too much money, its value decreases. That's the same thing that happened to Luna, where its value decreased and it was no longer able to save its stablecoin. And so as its backup reserve, TerraLuna announced that they would buy 10 billion worth of cryptocurrency to back up its stablecoin if it were to ever depeg. And so what they did is they unloaded 1.5 billion of Bitcoin, which decreased Bitcoin's value itself, and hopes to try to ease everybody and calm those from not dumping UST, which didn't work, and people continued to dump UST. So all this went down in a matter of weeks in the beginning of May, where the market was taking a downturn. Bitcoin was going down. Like I said, Bitcoin went from, what was it? I'm at the beginning or at the end of April. Wasn't it like 40,000 or something? It was somewhere near there.
47, I think.
47, all the way down to like 25. So far, that's been the lowest within weeks. And then Luna went down to like almost near pennies. So basically everybody just lost their money on Luna.
I'm looking at the top 100 right here, and it's saying that Luna is still in the top 100, but it's currently at 0.0002. But the
I don't mean to laugh, but
market
it is
cap
kinda,
is still 1.1 billion.
Yeah.
So that means like people are still holding their money there. And then there's don't know if that's right, but it says 6.5 trillion coins in supply.
Yeah, that makes sense because
That's a lot.
because people were pulling out of UST so much, you know, to
all
correct
that,
itself.
all that Terra turned into.
Yeah,
Luna.
because to correct
Okay.
itself, it makes more
Gotcha.
it makes more Luna to correct the
Oh,
balance.
shit.
So
Because I was like, that's Shiba Inu numbers.
Yeah.
Trillions. Like, I didn't remember Luna having that many.
So
supply.
it was like a what they
That
call it,
makes
like
sense,
a
yeah.
balance. It pulled so much UST that it created way too much
shit.
Luna,
Okay, so
and so that Luna was
lopsided.
yeah. So it got inflated, which what happens when currency gets inflated, it loses its value, right? So that's what happened with Luna, and that's why it's near pennies now in its value.
Not even a penny.
Yeah, it's not
It's under a penny.
a penny. Yeah.
That's crazy, but I wonder if it has a chance to recover at some point. But although it's already at a high,
You know,
high
so
number
so
of
so
coins,
those who did have their money in Luna, that's their only hope, is that it recovers. That's all they can do is just
even
hold.
Terra's still here too in the top 100, and it's at it's supposed to be, like you said, a stable coin of $1, and it's at 0.06, which is 6 cents.
Right.
And the market cap is at 701 million.
Now, mind you guys, this was considered a stable coin. People, it's possible that people put their life savings in here. It's possible that they put their 401k. It's possible that they went all in because it was giving you back a 20% interest. And that's the thing is like these coins can pop up and they could be whatever they want it to be just because they make that claim, just because it merely exists. And then they'll pay people with their made up token to incentivize you to buy into it. So in some sense, yeah, there are some schemish things here when people can manipulate the market in such a way like that.
There's too many players definitely involved that are trying to create these high value cryptos. There's already, like if we look at the top dogs, you have Bitcoin, which still has a $569 billion market cap. You have Ethereum, which is a $242 billion market cap. US dollar Tether, which is still at 73, and that's a stable coin that has been able to maintain itself. I have heard people say that it's tied to the U.S. government in some way, because that's also a huge contributor to the price of Bitcoin. U.S. dollar Tether, and that's still the number 3 crypto in the world at $73 billion market cap. Then there's the U.S. government's stable coin, USDC, at a $53 billion market cap. And they're actually over $1 at 1.0003, which is another stable coin. Then you have Binance at number 5, which I heard is tied to China in some way, some kind of billionaire from China that's behind that one. And that's a huge crypto also with a $51 billion market cap. Then XRP at 6, BUSD, I don't know what that is. And then you have Cardano at number 9, or number 6, 7, Cardano, Hex, Sol is 10, which was next to Luna. They were kind of like neck and neck. And Sol's at $51 a coin, $17 billion market cap. And I think I want to mention is that, you're wearing a Doge shirt.
Yeah.
A lot of people question the value of Doge and the future of Doge, and it's still sitting just outside the top 10 of all cryptos in the world at number 11 with a current price of 8 cents a coin and a $11.2 billion market cap, which says that there's a lot of people that are still believing in the coin that have it. There's a circulating supply of 132 billion, which is not bad.
So I also hope that I didn't scare people off either,
It looks like it's holding pretty good.
Yeah.
That's good news for Doge people.
It really is a good sign
Like
that
me.
other altcoins and even Bitcoin are still holding strong despite this
That's what I'm
awful
saying.
thing that happened.
It is going to be volatile, but there is some usage, some utility, some stability. It's still obviously a new thing. People are still learning about crypto.
It does show me though that, the market or the market liquidity isn't exactly what it seems. So although they might have, let's say, 14,000 UST sitting there, right? They might truly have maybe, I don't know, like 500 million in the bank to really cover these payouts. And they might not necessarily have exactly 14 billion or whatever to cover whatever they supposedly have, you know? So, and that goes back to old traditions, you know, back to like even as late as the 1800s, you know, where they would produce these dollar bills or whatever with like risky backups or reserves, you know, that weren't really there to back up the money. So it's the same kind of thing. It makes me realize that if any of these big fish, you know, were to pull out their money and cause this little dip of scare or panic, the market can easily, not the market, the coin can easily drop or fall because the money to actually back this up isn't all truly there. Because, and there's no audits, there's no regulations of this, there's no people going in and investigating to make sure like everything's done ethically. I mean, all we have to depend on are these blockchains and then these financial groups that are behind it that don't necessarily, it's kind of like with any sort of pool, like we don't know what's truly there holding this all up, you know? So when you think about these coins, think that there probably is some real money at the bottom, but it's not as what we see on the outside. So being mindful of that and doing things right by dollar cost averaging, you know, I think you should be fine. But when people go all in on this, something that isn't regulated, something that's very risky, you risk the potential to lose it all, which is exactly what happened.
One thing I think we didn't talk about that's happening also a lot that's not good for the market is a lot of people that get in and they short a crypto. So they're not really believing in it, but they're kind of like manipulating the price in a way. They're getting in, buying a whole bunch just to get out really quick. And there was something like that going on with ApeCoin, which was, from what I understand, founded by the people who made the Bored Ape Yacht Club NFTs. This was supposed to be the official crypto of the Bored Apes. And there was a lot of hype behind it. And I heard a couple of weeks ago there was a date where they were, and that's the thing I heard, whenever people are talking about a specific date, that's when you should be cautious as far as like rug pulls and scams, because they're always, there's going to be people that are going to have money to play with. They're big players. They're you know, big spenders, and they're going to try to scheme up on how, like, they're going to get into groups like we saw on Reddit with the AMC stock and GameStop, and even with Dogecoin, even though Dogecoin I think has a more of a future than any of those. There's people that would get in all at the same time to kind of create this manipulating little thing where they can make money really quick and get out. And I saw that happening with ApeCoin. I actually had some myself, and I think I put in around 300. At some point I had like 1,000 that had made, and then it dropped back down to like 400, and I got out because I was just, even though I still feel like it has a future, because Bored Ape is an established, you know, NFT community with a lot of money, a lot of you know, value. I wanted to get out because it was kind of risky at the time, and I sold also all my Shiba. So I'm currently personally only holding Dogecoin right now, which has been my go-to right now, just because of the price being so low and the potential being so high for the future of it.
Let's watch this clip. This is a parody of Matt Damon's commercial. South Park did a little thing on this. Let's watch this.
What does Matt Damon say on that Bitcoin commercial? Fortune favors the brave.
My dad said he listened to Matt Damon and lost all his money.
Yes, everyone did, but they were brave in doing so.
I can just keep him home on pajama day?
No, I can't stay home because you have to go to work because fucking Matt Damon told you fortune favors the brave, and now you lost all your fucking money.
Matt Damon told me fortune favors the brave, and I lost all my fucking money.
We can do this.
We just have to be brave.
But not too brave, or else Matt Damon will come and take all our money.
All right, dude, can we lay off the Matt Damon jokes, please? They're just getting old.
Tom, warm up the Wiener Schnitzel and put on your lederhosen, because now people are being told to stop making Matt Damon. Opponents are claiming that the jokes are already tired and Matt Damon had every right to make a Bitcoin commercial. So the jokes need to stop.
Yeah.
Bitcoin hit 1 trillion.
Love South Park.
So yeah, dude, I love South Park too, man. Every time they do a parody of something, it's just like genius.
They're genius. They're funny.
Yeah. So you know what was interesting, as you were saying about the short thing, some were even speculating that this was all caused by a single hacker who did this massive dump to manipulate and make off with some money. It's this guy on Twitter. His name is, I believe it's On-Chain Wizard is his name. So he's like the Gandalf of like blockchain Twitter or something. So he goes into detail on his Twitter and he gives us some insight as to what he thinks happened and how a single attacker could have pulled this off. It's all speculation, of course, but he's speculating that this is what the hacker did. So when TerraLuna, they announced that they were going to buy 10 billion Bitcoin back in, I don't know if it was April or early May. They announced that they were going to buy 10 billion Bitcoin, right? They announced it on Twitter. They said, hey, everybody.
10 billion coins or 10 billion in Bitcoin?
10 billion worth of Bitcoins.
I was about to say that's a lot.
Yeah, I know. 10 billion worth of Bitcoins to be their reserve, right? For their stable coin. So that was one thing. And then they announced that they were going to be doing a new 4 pool, which means that they have this pool of cryptocurrencies mixed with stable coins and altcoins, and you can buy into that pool or whatever. And so they made that announcement. So the attacker, if he knows that much information now, he knows that they're going to buy 10 billion Bitcoin. It's a lot of Bitcoin. And that they're going to use it in the case where they need to back up their UST. All he has to do is gain good position in UST, unload that, pull that rug out, make it where they can't cover that money where he tries to dump off his shares. And then they got to what? They got to use Luna to try to fix it, right? And if Luna can't do it, they're going to use their Bitcoin. And so all he had to do was make a short on Bitcoin itself, meaning a short, meaning you're betting against the market. So you're betting that the coin is going to go down in price. So what he did is he borrowed whatever price it was at. I think it was like 42,000, let's say. I think he got, it came out to like, he bought like 100K of it. So that came out to like $4.2 billion or something like that. So he borrowed 100K of Bitcoin, borrowed it, right? Knowing that they're going to go down in price because they're trying to save UST now. Then he sells it back to them at that lower price, made $1 billion right there, just off of that short. Maybe even more. I don't know. I'm just kind of averaging this. And he runs off with, and probably spends a little bit more to dump some UST or whatever. I don't know. And he runs off with becoming a millionaire, almost close to $1 billion, probably like $800 million, $900 million just on a play like that. So there's room for manipulation here. There's ways to pull this off. All you have to do is you borrow 100,000 Bitcoin, you make a short on it, knowing what's going to happen. You spend some money in UST, pull that rug under UST, and it's like a chain reaction. You know, when you do that, Bitcoin's going to drop. You sell it back to Bitcoin. You made some money. There's basically the whole system of how the attacker could have pulled it off. So,
yeah, if that's true, then it's going to be a learning lesson for the crypto game to be more secure as far as where they're, like you said, where they're getting their value from and where it's all going back to. And we have to be able to, and that's part of the growing pains of the market, is like they're going to have to figure that out as well as the energy usage issue.
But like no stable coin has been properly audited. No stable coin has really been, properly regulated. And the only little regulation that have done, they've only took in snapshots of them maybe borrowing money for the day, but then the next day they'll give back the money. So it's not like they truly have the money that they snapshot that they had. So there's a lot of little sketchy, sketchy things going on in the background like that. That was specifically, for example, Tether had done that, as a stable coin, go ahead.
Yeah, I think for investors or people, anybody out there that's listening that wants to get into crypto, I would steer away from these type of coins like Luna and that are still fairly new. We haven't really seen any usage of it in a way where, like, for example, like, you can pay for stuff in there. You see it somewhere like we see with Bitcoin becoming more of a household name, Ethereum being more of a household name, and even Dogecoin, which is still a riskier asset because it's considered a meme coin. I think basically, to sum it all up, you would be better off with something like Bitcoin and Ethereum than these other off-brand cryptos that are coming out of nowhere, kind of people that are trying to get rich and create these coins out of nothing.
What's interesting though, like off of what I just described with this attacker, making some moves or plays, and it's all speculation, but I can see how that can really go down. What's interesting about that is that's exactly what kind of happened in the 2008 financial crisis. Leading up to that, the markets were the companies were doing so well off. Like they were so hot that they needed places to store their money. And there was literally a time when they were using up so many treasuries, so much different solid assets that they were running out of places to store the money. We're talking like Pablo Escobar status, like burying money in the grounds. Like they literally had no places to put this cash. And so these financial engineers would kind of create these safe assets where they can meet these demands. And so they would basically, they would have these assets or these products backed by such things as real estate, or by securities backed by real estate, or by bets on securities backed by real estates. And it worked until it didn't, right? Until there was a downswing in the housing market, and then everything just unrounded and it just went into this spiral where it tried to bring down the whole entire market with it. And that's kind of similar to what we see here, is that these safe havens, these stable coins, which you thought were safe, weren't exactly safe like we had thought. And as soon as there was a downturn, all of a sudden it kind of created the same exact scenario. So it's really interesting to me because we saw the same pattern happen in crypto, except that it wasn't backed by the housing as something as solid as housing, right? Because crypto works entirely based off of the US dollar. That's where we're really kind of making this money here, is off of the US dollar and its value. And this time what's different is you're not dealing with like seasoned financial experts this time, or traders. You're dealing with real people now, like real people and real lives out here, in these suburban areas. And, you're dealing with people now, like the average Joe, who is going in and, betting on something he's not really entirely sure about, or betting the wrong way. And then boom, you lose it all. And like they said on Reddit, there was like in this forum where they had for like Luna or whatever, like there was these people putting these like disparaging messages, and the moderators would put like the suicidal hotlines on it. Like there's legit like people, contemplating suicide over it. It's like, it's just so bizarre, but at the same time, like that's real. Like this can really drive that. And so I guess like to just kind of summarize this is like stable coins, I think if you do it the smart way, if you do it by dollar cost averaging, like the way the experts are telling you, I think if you do it that way and you actually do some research and digging, make a safe bet on it. Or if you have the money, then, swing big then if you have the money. But don't go all in necessarily on something that you don't fully know about or is unknown. And, when you hear these millions and billions being thrown out there, like realize that there's no liquidity in the market necessarily. There might be some real dollars there on the bottom, but it's not exactly what you think it is. Most of it is fiction built on fiction. And although there might be like maybe narrow ways for attackers to get a hold of some genuine dollars, we haven't seen any type of breach like that yet, but I think what we have learned here is that you're going to constantly have those who are going to make the effort to try and who are there. It seems like their goal here is to ultimately leave the government holding the bag, right? While they make this house of cards fall, they want the government holding the bag. And we've seen it in 2008 and we saw it here again this month. And that's the thing I think that we could take away and learn from this is that, look into what you're investing into before you go all in on something that you don't or not sure about. And also if it's too good to be true, it might be too good to be true, because if they're giving you $20 interest, that's a lot. And there might be a reason for that.
Yeah. Nothing's overnight too. A lot of people get in on expecting to make money like right away. Like for example, when I started in 2019, I threw in $50 1 week, another $50 another week, maybe a month later, $100. And then I kind of slowed it down to like less and then more, but it's usually, like you said, it's better to have a small number, like an average cost where you can just throw in, like, let's say $5 a day or $20 a week, something, an amount where you normally would spend on food, McDonald's, whatever, something that you would normally throw away, throw it into crypto. That way you're not like taking a huge loss, but you're also potentially going to have an opportunity to gain if the price were to go up. And that's where I think people struggle sometimes, that they don't know how much to put in, when to get in. And from what I've read and seen, it's better to get in no matter what the price is, at an amount that you can afford and a rate that you can afford, like daily or a couple dollars a day, $20 a week. And when I was doing like those small little investments over the course of a year, 2 years, I accumulated enough to when the market did explode during the pandemic, because of the shift from investors getting out of the stock market and going into crypto. I made a huge amount. I'm still not losing a lot of money, but I did lose a lot of the profit I made because of the price changes. But I'm the type of person I was going to hold for the future. I wasn't in it for the short term. I was in it for the long term. And I accumulated enough Bitcoin at the time. I sold some of it and I changed most of it into Dogecoin because of the low price of it and the opportunity to have more of it, to where hopefully in the future it would rise in value. I would have a lot more than what I would have with my little percentage of Bitcoin that I had. And that's another thing people don't understand is like, you don't have to buy a whole Bitcoin. Like you can buy a percentage of it. You can buy $20 of it. And that's, 0.008 of the coin or whatever. That probably ain't right, but it's, like I said, I was averaging, like you said. So yeah, it's going to be, I think, around for a long time. It's going to be around for, at least Bitcoin's going to be around forever. I think it's not going anywhere. The price may drop lower than it is now, than it has during this crash, which was 25 or 26. But if you're looking to get in it, I would wait until that happens. As far as the price dropping from where it is now, I wouldn't get in now, because it's still uncertain what's going to happen, if we're going to see even lower drop, if it's going to recover. But I would make my best prediction would be that during the summer, we're going to see an even lower point, maybe under 20,000. And then by the end of the summer, going into fall, going into November, it's gonna hit either the previous all time of 70 or maybe even higher.
There's predictions that it's supposed to go, or people are predicting that it'll be 100,000, by the end of this year. That's the hope. And it does, what was I going to say? It does reassure me. It's a good thing that Bitcoin is still doing well, considering all that just happened. Like all that we just explained, the fact that Bitcoin is still doing well, that's a positive sign. So, I want to thank you again, Jaime, for joining me today on the podcast. Thank you again, bro, for coming through.
It was a pleasure, man.
Let people know your links, and I know you got your thing going on with the clothing brand and everything.
Yeah, grimydynasty.net is the website. We have the current collection on there right now, but we're working on a newer collection that should be coming out later this year. And Corsair also is the other brand. We have the Capo design, if people have seen that. We're going to bring a lot of the old stuff out too. And music also, just basically clothes and music, getting back into the two things I love.
Yeah, it's funny because
Jaime
has been getting me back into the studio and doing some music as well. So we might have some music for you as well. In fact, we're going there after this show, which is funny. And then lastly, guys, like I said, I did open up the shop. So feel free to go on thedeependpod.com and click shop. There we have the Deep End merch. I appreciate you guys so much for your love and your support. We're going to do this. We're going to go big with this. So thank you guys again, and hope you guys have a great night. Take care.
Peace.
Bruh.